Do you get anxious when it comes to finance? Do you ignore your statements, or do you just dread looking at them? Today I wanted to talk about money management tips. And the first tip is to review your bank statements, see what the direct debits are, see what the subscriptions are and all of that. But then I was thinking, there's more to it than that. What I mean by that is, if you are in the situation where you are struggling with money, then the likelihood is it's going to take a lot for you to look at your finances. It's going to take a lot for you to review your bank statements. I mean, I myself personally, when the option came on my online account not to have paper statements anymore, I ticked it happily. Yes, I told myself it was for the environment, but it was really because I just didn't want to see them anymore. A little bit about my story. I used to be an employed financial controller, and I used to have my salary, and every month it'd come in. As long as it covered my direct debits and had a little bit to live on, I was good to go. I never really delved into it. I didn't worry about savings or things like that. It was all fine because I covered my direct debits, right? I even remember a few years ago having a conversation with my dad, and he said, if anything happened and you lost your job, you have got at least 3 months money put aside for your bills. And I kind of went, but yeah, it was kind of a no. But I'd always earned well, so I never really understood at the end of the month why I didn't have any money. But I didn't worry myself because I could always cover my direct debits, and that to me was all you needed. As long as you had enough money to cover your bills, you're good to go. Why worry about putting money aside? Worry about an emergency fund? Why worry about anything else? And the more I'm reading at the moment is a lot of people have been living their lives like this, and now the cost of living is going up and up and up. Everybody's concerned. Can they still cover their direct debits? And at the end of the day, if you're like me, maybe you can't. So what I've been doing is sort of looking at my finances, doing a proper review and working my way through it in order to be better with my finances. So I'm getting there. I'm a lot better than I used to be. And I use my it's funny, I'm considering myself now as a business. I never used to consider myself as a business, but since I left the world of accountancy and I've become self-employed, I'm a mortgage advisor and a mortgage coach. And as part of that, I'm self-employed, so I have to manage my finances. So now I've got to be much better with my money. I can't always guarantee that I'll get paid every month. It depends how many mortgage clients I get. It depends when the mortgage completes. So there's that area. When it comes to the mortgage coach element, I have a membership, and it depends how many members I've got. So money can fluctuate up and down. So that's why I've got to be a lot more on top of my finances than I used to. But there's still that element in the back of my mind from years and years ago where it's like looking at your bank statement, reviewing where you are. It does get easier, and the first time you do it, you are going to feel a lot of anxiety, I would say. And also for me, I used to beat myself up about this kind of stuff because I'm a chartered accountant. I'm non-practicing, but I am a chartered accountant, so you think people like me should be brilliant with their finance. But I was always brilliant with other people's finance because I didn't consider myself a business. But now I consider myself a business. I look at my income, I look at my expenses, and yes, it's taken a while to get there, but I do feel a lot better about things. And I'd like to be able to help other people. So I'm doing, as I said, the mortgage membership, but I'm now also considering becoming a financial coach because I really want to help people and I really feel that I can make a difference. So that's my plan, really. But for you, I'd like to give you some tips. So the first tip, as I said, is even though it's hard, take a deep breath, take one statement at a time and review your bank statements. Then I would suggest you colour code them. So green for stuff that you absolutely have to pay, like gas, electricity, council tax, mortgage payments. Not in that order, they're all just as important. Then I would say amber, so things like your mobile phone. I'm not saying don't pay it, but I'm saying look at it saying, okay, it's something that I definitely want to keep, but is there a way that I can actually change it up? So when it comes to your utilities, if you're not in a fixed rate, then that could be amber, because then you could look at trying to get yourself on a fixed rate. Utilities, I mean gas, electric and water. When it comes to your mobile, is there another way? Rather than having that shiny brand new phone every single year, is there a way of just going SIM only for for a year or two and actually using your phone? I know, a year-old phone, but amber, that's what I mean. You can actually change things up. And then there's red, some of the subscriptions that seem like a good idea at the time, but you'll never actually even use them. I mean, I subscribed to this weight loss thing, and it was just hilarious because at the end of the day, I never even used it. And then what else is there? Yeah, so start with bank statements, color code them. That's tip number one. Tip number two is your credit score. Be aware of your credit. So for me, being an accountant, thought process, I've started an Excel spreadsheet, and on that Excel spreadsheet, not only do I have all of my bank transactions on it, but I also have my what else do I have? I have my credit information, so whether I've got what the limit is, what the balance is, and work my way down and sort my credit into a certain order of priority as well. So when you're looking at your credit report, that is a great way of highlighting what your credit card balances are, what your loan balances are. Speak to the bank and say, if you pay off a little bit more of your loan, which I've started doing myself, how much quicker will I pay off that loan? Or do it with your credit cards. If your credit cards have a higher interest rate, actually find out your interest rate. It's amazing how many people, and I was one of these people, that get a credit card because it's interest free, and then when the promotion ends, you didn't even open the letter to know that it had ended, so you don't know. You can actually, work on reducing your credit and moving it to interest-free credit. So that's tip number two. By looking at your credit report, you can really tell what your credit commitments are. Tip number three is be good to yourself. What I mean by that is takeaways. Yeah, I used to get a lot of takeaways. Now, being good to yourself is one, reduce the takeaways, reduce eating out, and try and eat at home. It's a lot healthier, and it's good for you. It's good for your pocket, as in your money situation, but it's also good for your health. And by doing that, you can actually set yourself a food budget. So that way you know exactly what it is. So obviously in the beginning I've talked about all your committed expenses that you absolutely have to pay, but then there are things sort of like petrol, and do you need to drive as much? Maybe you can walk, which is also good for you. It's funny, isn't it, when you think of things like fuel and food, you can actually not only reduce the amount of money you spend, but you can live a healthier life by doing it. So if you stop using the car and you walk more, not only do you save money, but you may lose a few pounds, as in, with your weight. And then looking at food, if you start budgeting, maybe on a Sunday night, and I do this with the kids, we look through recipe books and come up with what we want to cook for the week. And then we write a shopping list, and then we just go to the shop and we literally just buy that. So that's a good thing to look at as well. But I think the very, 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 very first thing that you need to tackle is how you feel emotionally about your money. Because at the end of the day, if you shop when you're down, or if you're an emotional eater, for instance, you're going to get a takeaway. If having money troubles does depress you, then it's a vicious cycle. So I think you've just got to do a little bit at a time what you can feel comfortable with, and try not to get too anxious about it. And if you need someone to talk to go through things, then, just DM me and I'll be more than happy to talk to you. So thanks for your time. Take care. Bye bye.